Okay, we're going to start the recording now, and then I'll count us down before we go broadcasting. All right, we're going to be starting the screen share in just a moment. And counting us down to go live in 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening, everyone, and good morning to everyone here in Canada. Well, it's Together 2022. We're here at the opening ceremonies, and we're excited to be here with everyone today. You know, it feels like just a few short seconds ago that we were wrapping up Together 2021. What an adventure that was. We put the whole thing together with our friends at Startup India in just 90 days and brought together hundreds of students from across India and across Canada, mentors, and all kinds of incredible speakers. Here we are. We've doubled our size, and it's exciting for us to get started off. I'm coming to you as Chris Carter, the Executive Director of the Schulich School of Business's Office of Innovation and Entrepreneurship. Schulich, the top-ranked MBA in Canada and one of the leading MBA programs in the world. Part of York University, the fourth largest university with 55,700 students in Canada and more than 325,000 alumni. Many of them you're going to meet as students in the program, as mentors, and as your fellow students working with you here from Canada. I'm so excited to be here with you. It really started for me as a journey when in November 2019, I got to visit our campuses in Hyderabad and meet so many of the young, amazing students there inspired to pursue their careers in innovation and technology, and also had the opportunity to meet with our advisory board, Mr. Tata, Mr. Ratan Tata, and the entire advisory group, so many esteemed and wonderful leaders from across India who I had the opportunity to connect with. This led last year during the pandemic, the inspiration, a mutual inspiration with the team at Startup India and the government of India to do something special between our two countries, to reach out in the spirit of global citizenship and help inspire some amazing young people to put them on their journeys to create companies and to become innovators in the Indian economy. So with that, I'm excited to introduce my co-collaborator, my co-host for the day, Swani Ramchandani, and to talk to us about her views on what we're here to accomplish and bring greetings from Startup India. Swani, over to you.
Thank you so much, Chris. A very good evening to everyone joining us from India, and a very good morning to our audience from Canada. I'm Swani from the Startup India in West India Government of India team. Today is the first Monday of 2022, which also marks the launch of the Together 2022 Bootcamp. The Together 2022 series was conceptualized back in 2020 as a joint initiative between Startup India and Schulich School of Business. Startup India was launched by the Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi on January 16, 2016. The action plan of this initiative focuses on 3 simple areas: simplification and handholding, funding support, and incentives. The maiden edition of Together 2021 was a massive success. We were able to support 50 teams of young, energetic students with 150 Canadian students and over 50 mentors. As Chris mentioned, with Together 2022, we aim to double the impact and support 200 students, that is over 100 teams of young, bright students who dream to become successful entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurship is no longer just a buzzword, but a need of the hour. We live in an unprecedented era, while at one side of the coin, technology has added countless jobs to the workforce, from network administrators to the Insta famous. But on the other side, it also has made a host of professions obsolete along the way. And hence, today, it's more important than ever to train and prepare today's generation for the unseen challenges of the future. We hope that with this bootcamp, Together 2022, we are able to sow the seeds of entrepreneurship in the young minds of our country and contribute to the journey of becoming job providers and not job seekers. Over to you, Chris. Today, we are graced by a few of the most esteemed entrepreneurs in India and Canada. On behalf of the entire Startup India team and Schulich School of Business, I welcome you all and thank you for sparing time on the first Monday of the year to inspire the youth of India and Canada.
Thanks, Wani. And with that, we'll continue on and we will give everyone a brief overview of the event and what we're going to be doing as part of the boot camp and the competition. So it's a 7-day boot camp. It starts today and we'll be concluding next Sunday. So it's quite the run. And what's incredible is to see how far the students last year came from day one to the final days of the competition. And we'll be working through a whole program, and we're going to walk you through that as we go along here. We're looking at key themes, so self-reliability, sustainability, and social purpose. The students are coming with innovations and concepts that they're bringing into the competition. Some of them are already evolving. We've been getting messages from people saying, hey, I've already been talking to my fellow students and we're already iterating on what the idea is going to be. That's great. There's going to be lots of transformation and creation that's going to take place throughout the week. But at the core of it, there's some key themes that we work with to make sure that there's a social purpose and something that's being brought into the world that's going to make a really positive impact. The trainers that people are going to be working with throughout the week are some fantastic people, top trainers, instructors, and alumni from Schulich and York University coming together alongside with some incredible leaders from the Indian economy and innovation economy as well too. So students, you'll get to know these people. You'll be spending time with them. As early as today, you'll be meeting Ben Stacy, who's one of the top pitch trainers in the whole world and trains all of the Schulich startup champions as well too. So I can't wait for you to meet him and the other trainers as we go along. One of the key features and highlights of this event is the mentorship component. And what makes it really special is the paired mentorship approach. So every one of the teams will be having a paired mentor group, a Canadian mentor and an Indian mentor coming together to help them and give both the Indian and global perspective and then also the Canadian and global perspective as well too. And there's some really compelling people. We have 100 mentors from Canada and 100 from India coming together. And what we loved to see last year as well was that there were some beautiful friendships that were formed amongst the mentors who are now still working together and supporting each other in their businesses across the globe. The judges themselves on the final day are quite the group. Deep experience in innovation and acceleration and venture capital from a wide variety of experiences. We have 3 Indian judges and 2 Canadian judges all coming together to support the initiative. And they're just waiting in the wings and ready to see what the final 6 companies that come through the week are going to have to present to them next Sunday. We're also really lucky to have a wide variety of partners that have stepped up, just like the students have doubled. Swanee, this year we have like almost a doubling in terms of the organizations that are supporting us and getting involved. And we have our 2 seed partners. I won't be able to mention everyone by name here, but I will say that the City of Toronto and also the Consulate General of India in Toronto have been 2 incredible seed partners to keep this going and growing. We are really lucky to have the support of Mayor Tory in Toronto and also the Consul General, Ms. Apurva Srivastava, who has also been just an icon of helping us get this off the ground from the beginning. We have some key resource partners who have come to the table to provide their technologies and their services and their resources for the students, all of them going through the program to help them with their companies. Some key sector partners who have come forward and helped us in terms of sponsoring to get the prize money off the ground for the students when they come through for those final companies that are successful in the championship next Sunday. Great community partners helping us to secure our mentors and supporters, incubation and venture partners who have come up and said they're going to take in the top companies post-competition and support them with a variety of services and committed terms of time to help them to build their companies to the next level. So this is exciting for us as well too. And then some wonderful in-kind partners who have helped us out with our prizing or in other ways to help us come to this point. So thanks again to everybody who's been a key partner in the community to help us to get to this point. And with that, Swanee, I'll turn it back to you as we begin the exciting part of the program now to meet some of these incredible guests who you've helped us to organize and who we've welcomed from both countries.
Thank you so much, Chris. May I now welcome Ms. Priya Rawat. Ms. Priya Rawat is the CEO of Invest India. Ms. Priya Rawat has a professional career of over 12 years and is currently the Chief Operating Officer at Invest India, the National Investment Promotion Facilitation Agency promoted by the Government of India. At Invest India, she is also heading the global investor outreach and is leading the investor targeting, facilitation, and handholding efforts for all foreign investors. Prior to Invest India, she has consulted on areas related to government policies and funding, impact assessment, and technology commercialization. She has been associated with organizations such as Ministry of Science and Technology, National Buildings Construction Corporation, and National Dairy Development Board. She has also worked with a startup in Liverpool, UK. Ms. Rawat has an MBA, Masters in Science from University of Delhi, and CMA from London, UK. We welcome you, ma'am, for your time. Thank you so much. Over to you.
Thank you, Chris and Swani. A very good morning to everyone joining from Canada and a very good evening to friends from India. Wishing everyone a very happy and prosperous new year. I will be quick, but I will be giving you some updates on how we are doing. In terms of vaccination, the drive is in full swing. We have administered 1.4 billion doses already. And in fact, today we mark the beginning of vaccinations for the 15 to 18-year-olds. Of the 100 million in this age bracket, by evening, we had 1.3 million who'd already received their first dose on the first day. We have fully vaccinated 64% of our 18 plus population and 90% have received their first dose. And this pace of vaccination has played an important role in supporting the pace of economic recovery. International agencies have projected very positive numbers. In fact, all of the estimates have been revised upwards. IMF's World Economic Outlook projected an 8.5% growth forecast. And all of this has also been showing results in terms of the foreign direct investment that has been flowing in. The last financial year, we received 81 billion of FDI. In fact, it was the highest amongst the very few countries that saw an increase. We saw a 10% increase in FDI, and this came amidst a pandemic when the global FDI fell by 35%. The investors continued their trust in India, and our rank in terms of FDI recipient improved. It improved from 9th to 5th position in 1 year. This has all been possible because of the significant number of reforms that the government has brought about. To share some of them with you, we have reduced the corporate tax from 25 to 15%, making us globally competitive and lowest amongst our peers. We launched the national single window, and this is aimed to integrate the clearance process of the various departments of at the state as well as the central government. We introduced the Geographic Information System, which showcases 4,500 industrial parks to serve as a one-stop shop for investors looking for available land. We have also launched two high-powered mechanisms. One is the Project Development Cell, which has been set up in 30 ministries and departments of the Government of India to create a shelf of readily investable projects. And we've also created an empowered group of secretaries to ensure timely clearances of projects which are spanning across different ministries and departments. And it also aims to bring policy stability as well as consistency in the overall investment environment. We introduced the production-linked incentive schemes with a capital outlay of about 30 billion for the next 5 years across 13 sectors. And the aim has been to create manufacturing global champions for an Atmanirbhar Bharat. And the PLI scheme aims to strengthen the manufacturing as well as the export capacities of domestic firms and industries, so as to put them at the heart of the global supply chain. And the focus sectors for the government has been pharma, electronics, technology, white goods, telecom, textiles, steel, and also upcoming areas such as the drone manufacturing. We launched Gati Shakti recently, which is the government's integrated approach to developing modern infrastructure. And all of this has happened in the midst of a pandemic. And this this entire all of these changes have been aimed at making India more globally competitive and easing the entire doing business in India. And this is what we say is the story of New India, where ideas and innovations have continued and have continued even during this difficult time. We are the proud creators of 81 unicorns, of which 44 were born just last year, and 7 have become publicly listed. In today's session, we have with us expert speakers, and I will leave it up to them to share these success stories. But I would like to mention here that the Indian startup ecosystem is full of innovation, enthusiasm, and entrepreneurial spirit. And from high-end technologies to identifying affordable solutions for the last mile, Indian startups have always managed to identify opportunities to build scalable businesses. We are second in terms of innovation, and now we host the third largest startup ecosystem globally. There are 739 districts in India. Of these, there are 629 districts that have given us a startup. So what I'm saying is that the story of New India is not just coming from the tier 1 cities. It has now moved to tier 2 and tier 3 cities, in fact, even to the villages in India. And it is just the beginning, and in fact, the right time to be launching this initiative today. India and Canada share a very special bond. We are seeing a lot of interest from Canadian businesses, especially from the financial investors. And the top sectors of interest that are showing interest in India have been, number 1 has been energy. We have IT, food processing, construction, textiles, metals and minings, defense manufacturing, healthcare, and pharma. I'm confident that this program being launched today will link the New India startups to the diverse opportunities in the global markets such as Canada. And this collaboration is a positive step towards strengthening the growing network of India-Canada startup ecosystem. I'd like to thank all our partners, DPIT, CGI Toronto, and of course, Schulich School of Business. And last but definitely not the least, thank you, Chris. You've been very supportive. I thank all of you once again and welcome you all. Over to you, Chris and Swani.
Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and your words with us today. We're so thrilled to have Invest India and Startup India as key partners, and having you here, I want to say thank you to you and your whole team for everything that's been contributed in the process. And also want to just say how impressive it's been to see the commitment and inspiration that the government of India has put into getting behind the innovation economy, and what you're accomplishing in such a short period of time is impressive, and we're so happy to be aligned with that. So thanks for your words today, and Swani, we'll continue on.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, ma'am, for your time. Together 2022, as I mentioned, aims to promote entrepreneurship in young students. Not very long ago, there was one such student who dreamt of breaking the glass ceiling in the industry of conglomerates and make her own mark. We are very grateful to welcome Ms. Vinita Singh, CEO of Sugar Cosmetics. Vinita Singh is the CEO and co-founder of Sugar Cosmetics, India's fastest growing beauty brand that clocked over 130 crores revenue in the 5th fiscal year. With a distribution network of over 35,000 branded retail outlets in more than 130 plus cities across the country, and all leading online stores, Sugar is a cult favorite of millennials and Gen Z. And I can assure you, Vinita is an alumnus of IIT Madras and Ahmedabad, and is also an Ironman triathlete and Comrades ultramarathoner. Thank you so much for joining us here today, Vinita. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Swani. And wow, 338 attendees. I think only a program that was organized by Startup India and the Government of India could have accomplished a large number like that. Of course, no offense, Chris. If I fumble today, please remind me, Swani, to leave everybody with a Sugar Cosmetics coupon code to make up for that, because this is probably one of the largest audience I'm speaking to in a long time. Love the name of the program, of course, Together 2022. I think I don't think we've ever felt so remote as well as so together as we begin another crazy year where, of course, India is beginning to see another big third wave coming up. But I think, as Priya mentioned, in spite of all that we're seeing in terms of the number of COVID cases, I have never started a year with such an optimistic and positive note of what the year has in store for us, because I think, the Indian consumer, the Indian ecosystem, the way we are seeing this whole demand and consumption and innovation explosion happening in India, I feel very positive about this. So I have been an entrepreneur and I've seen this ecosystem evolve over the last 15 years. I started up as a 23-year-old at IIM Ahmedabad. I decided to give up an investment banking job offer and launch my own company, which I thought would be a lingerie brand, because I thought that Indians understood Indians best and we could figure out what would work for Indian women better than any international brands. And went to 10 venture capitalists to raise funding for the business, because it was, of course, a very competitive category. Got a series of 10 rejections, and just like somebody who has like a disastrous breakup and decides that she will never ever be in a relationship again, I decided that I will never ever raise capital and I will bootstrap my company. So from having the aspiration to build a large consumer brand, I instead decided that I will start a services company. I hated it. It was not fun at all. For 5 years, I tried scaling that business. It didn't scale. And then I realized that, if I'm not going to be able to build a large company, which makes me a lot of money and a billionaire by the time I'm 30, I might as well do something that I really enjoy doing. So I got back into the whole consumer space. And in 2015, launched Sugar Cosmetics way before the whole digital to direct to consumer boom in India, where brands were getting built out of India, and made in India was actually cooler than made in Europe. So this was back in 2015. And we decided that it was the right time to set up a beauty brand emerging out of India, because Indian women were beginning to consume products in a way which was very different from their moms. They were stepping out, they were working women. The Indian tech ecosystem has seen that, from less than 10% of the online shoppers being women in 2015, we now have almost 45% of the online shoppers as women. And these young, independent, fearless, fierce women wanted products that could make them unstoppable throughout the day. So we decided to create makeup that would work better for Indian skin tone, Indian weather conditions, the tropical Indian weather, the pollution. And that's how Sugar was born back in 2015. But of course, again, we were a bit too early for our time. E-commerce was just beginning to take off. Consumer brands didn't, VCs, venture capitalists did not invest back then in beauty brands, because they thought that the target addressable market, which was primarily young women, was still too small. So we had another 100 odd VC rejections in the next 5 to 6 years. And after that, I realized two things. One was that I definitely suck at fundraising. And second was that the way to a venture capitalist's heart is through a large target addressable market, and everything else that you did was irrelevant. But luckily for me, the market started exploding. So suddenly, from less than $100 million of e-commerce beauty business, we are now at $1 billion of e-commerce beauty business in India, which is slated to hit $4.5 billion. So all the venture capitalists have now decided that direct to consumer is the next big thing, and India will build a lot of brands. And women as consumers became a very exciting category for investors to invest in. And over the last couple of years, we managed to raise almost $30 million. Now we're at we were doing about $6 million of sales every month. And to think that we've come a long way from being, always at the wrong place at the wrong time to finally hitting that sweet spot by being in a category which was exploding and emerging as one of the most exciting categories for venture capital money to come in. I think my learning, and if I could tell myself something, the younger me who was 23-year-old and very impatient to make a large unicorn quickly, that would be just few things. Firstly, I think entrepreneurship is a marathon. It is not a sprint. And I've learned it the very, very hard way. I think it is, if you just have the energy and consistency to be in the ecosystem and keep on building for a decade or more, that energy and consistency can be a shocking competitive advantage that nobody can take away from you. And you can be at the wrong place at the right time, the right place at the wrong time, and wrong place at the wrong time. But finally, just by being consistent and being at it, you will emerge in some space, building some business, which actually happens to be at the right place at the right time. And that's what I learned the hard way. And I think all of us are very lucky to be in this once in a lifetime opportunity where there are so many businesses being built by young entrepreneurs, even women. Like 10 years back, I used to get asked questions like, what will happen to your company when you decide to have a family? In the last 5 years, I raised $30 million while having 2 children. And suddenly these questions have become irrelevant. And we're so lucky to be here at this time, getting the opportunity to build where women are leading unicorns, women are listing their companies. And I'm very excited. I think the fact that 400 million Indians are young millennials, the fact that 45% of the consumers on the internet are now actually women, the fact that there are 740 million internet users in India, it's going to change the next decade, the way the next decade consumes, the way the next decade creates. And I'm very excited about the opportunity, but it's very important as we get excited about a big opportunity that we don't resort to shortcuts and think that, I want to have a unicorn within 2 years or 3 years, but have the patience and the ability to stick to our path and focus on the long term. So my recommendation to my younger self is solve problem that you're genuinely excited about, because it may take you longer than you estimated to be, but while you're building, you might as well have fun and do something that you think is solving a real problem, is addressing a real need of pain point of a consumer. India is, of course, as Priya said, the third best ecosystem now to build. And like I said earlier, made in India is suddenly cooler than made in Europe. And I never, ever in the last 2 decades thought that I would live to see that day when this happens. And well, today is such a day where made in India is the coolest thing that's coming out of this ecosystem. So don't worry about getting to the rat race of fundraising and about, because there are so many more businesses that die out of indigestion than out of starvation. There is enough data to show that the 20 biggest successful companies listed in the US or the Indian stock market have nothing to do with the amount of capital each of them has raised. So focus on your numbers. Don't worry if you suck at fundraising like I did. Just build a fabulous company that you're passionate about, solve a problem that really matters to you, and everything else will come in. So that's my that's my plan for 2022, to remember to always stay focused on 2030, which is 1 decade from now, as for the next quarter, and keep both long-term and short-term in mind while I build my company. Thank you so much. Best of luck to all of you. Would be very happy. Yes, somebody has commented that they saw me on Shark Tank. Yes, I'm on Shark Tank. I have, I think, the thing that's the most wonderful thing that has come out of Shark Tank is that I've seen entrepreneurs who are 13 years old and who are 65 years old. Both the sets have got funding. I have seen 49% of the capital going into women-led companies. And I feel that Shark Tank India for me is the ability, my own opportunity to pay back to this wonderful ecosystem that's been very generous in the last 3 years with me. So that's my opportunity to continue to pay it forward. And I do feel that if all of us come together, we have the opportunity to ensure that this ecosystem becomes the #1 ecosystem and not just the #3 ecosystem in the world. Thank you for the opportunity, Swani, and everybody else at Astha and everybody else at Invest India.
Whoa, Vanita, wow, that was amazing. You can see in the chat, everybody's wound up. I mean, everyone knows that I wake up with a lot of energy, but now I'm ready to do like unbelievable things this week beyond what we're already doing. Thanks for all that you brought here today. I have a couple things to tell you that I think you'll find really interesting. One, we have doubled the number of women that are participating from India, from the student side this year. We have 70 young women who are in the program and participating. So we're very excited about that. And I know you'll be happy about that as well too. I really love what you had to say in terms of the marathon. I think it's really important for all the students that are here. They may feel like this week that, oh, I've got to accomplish so much in this sprint, and they will. But really, these are lessons and abilities that they are going to learn and carry forward, and it's how they apply them in the months and the years. And as we know, to build great companies takes like a decade, that are not just flashes in the pan and financial constructs, but bring real value into the world. So thank you for sharing that message. I need a t-shirt that says companies die from indigestion versus starvation, which is good. I love that. And I also want to tell you that it must be the energy you brought, but we actually went up to 340 participants while you were speaking. So people joining along as we go. And we're broadcasting on all our social media channels. So we're almost at 600 participants that are now watching across all the various platforms. So thanks for being with us today. We appreciate all the energy, and I hope you have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you.
Thanks. Swani, back to you.
Thank you so much, Vanita, for your time. It was truly inspiring. And yes, women will be the future. And with immense pride, we in fact have 3 panelists, back-to-back speakers that are women today. And I'm so glad for your time and for the energy, and the story has always inspired me. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Moving on, Startup India has 13 international bridges which serve as soft landing platforms for startups, and our next speaker has made all of that possible. Would like to now welcome Ms. Shivangi Jain, Assistant Vice President, Startup India. Ms. Shivangi has started her career with UBS Investment Bank after graduating from the University of Delhi with a bachelor's degree with honors in commerce. She then went on to work at OYO, the world's largest hospitality company, for nearly 4 years. She has a remarkable background in government initiatives, brand management, partnership development, and investment banking. She is currently the AVP of Startup India at Invest India and leads the international corporate engagement. We welcome you, Shivangi.
Thank you so much, Swani, for the warm introduction. Bonjour and namaste. A very good evening to our audience from India, and good morning to our friends from Canada. It's very difficult to match Vanita's energy. I really wish that I was going before her, but I'll definitely try. I'm not going to touch upon the things and the tips that have already been shared with you, but maybe talk a little more about the background of this engagement and why we are all here. So I'm Shivangi. I've been working very closely with Chris and the wonderful team he has on this initiative, and I'm greatly pleased to be here among all of our esteemed guests for tonight. And a big thank you for joining us and taking out your time, because this means a lot to us. We welcome you all with great excitement in our hearts for the launch of Together 2022 Bootcamp, which is the second edition of the Together series. The first series was launched last year, and this is an initiative between, as Chris and Swani have previously mentioned, between Startup India, DPIIT, and Schulich School of Business, Canada. So the first edition, that is Together 2021, it paired 100 Indian student entrepreneurs with 150 students from Schulich and the Saunders School, and we created 5-member teams where 2 students were from India and 3 were from Canada, basis their complementary skill sets and experience. And the winning teams not only got industry exposure and guidance from the experts via this bootcamp, but they were also awarded $40,000 worth of seed funding that they could use to take forward their venture. And these 100 student entrepreneurs, they included students from various journeys, be it bachelor's, master's, PhD students. And there was, of course, great excitement from all over India for the previous edition as well, where we had almost 60% of the students who actually joined us from Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. In this dynamic era of technology, students do recognize that entrepreneurship programs do add value to their education. Learning about entrepreneurship promotes analytical and interpersonal abilities as well. And these abilities further transcend into workplace, and most crucially, transforming these entrepreneurs to not just be job seekers, but be job creators for the country, helping India become Atmanirbhar. Has also harnessed upon the same opportunity with the government launching various initiatives to power this trend of entrepreneurship in this country, where till date we have almost 700 incubators, and most of them are actually in the educational institutions and universities. And we've seen great startups coming out of these incubators. Almost every institution in the country today provides entrepreneurship courses, or they have e-cells to encourage students to start their own businesses. And Indian students from prestigious universities in India, such as IITs and IIMs, they've established very successful startups and are building solutions, not just for India, but also for the world. And of course, Canada too is taking substantial steps in this regard with programs such as Starter Visa that offers permanent resident status to an entrepreneur, provided a Canada-based venture capital fund has made significant investment in their business. And the program aims to welcome almost 500 new permanent residents from 2021 to 2023, which is of course very, very encouraging for all of us. And such ties between India and Canada aim to synergize these efforts by leveraging the potential that entrepreneurship ecosystem in both the countries have, and thereby moving to a greater shared prosperity. In fact, very recently, we also launched a startup bridge between India and Canada to help entrepreneurs who look forward to expanding their journey in the corresponding market as well. So the second bootcamp of Together 2022 series is being launched with the purpose of doubling this impact by helping more entrepreneurs from India and Canada in realizing their vision of building a positive influence on the world. And for the second edition, we received overwhelming response from Indian colleges and universities with over 500 fantastic applications that we received. This week-long bootcamp will bring together 100 pairs of motivated student entrepreneurs, that is 200 Indian students from over 17,000 Indian colleges and universities to brainstorm and come up with ideas in 8 important sectors. And the new ventures will be owned by Indian student entrepreneurs, and the competition winner will also have access to sophisticated startup tools, a worldwide network of experts, and financial assistance of over $20,000 to help them further scale their goals. And this year, we've also onboarded various resource, incubation, sector, community partners who can actually support these entrepreneurs in the journey. And we truly, truly thank you for coming on board, showing your confidence, and you're sure that these entrepreneurs will definitely amaze you. So we truly believe that this program will further help us in strengthening the student entrepreneurship community within the country. And we sincerely thank, on behalf of Startup India, DPIT Invest India, Chris, Shavo, Vito, and the entire team of Schulich, along with Council General of India, for putting together this program. And we're here to support you, and we hope that you'll make the most out of this boot camp, which has specially been curated for you. A lot of working hours have gone into it, and we really hope that this customized bootcamp for you is something which is going to be of great value, and you will also thoroughly enjoy this journey. So all the very best. Thank you so much. Namaste.
Thank you, Shivangi. And once again, appreciate all of the support from you and your team. To give people a little behind the scenes glimpse, we're connected on WhatsApp in 2 time zones around the clock, connecting and inspiring each other and prodding each other and working together to keep building more and more. And I love the fact that we have an environment where all ideas and inspirations are welcome. And we also have a lot of fun working with you as well, too. And that's a big theme of this week, is not just coming together and doing great things, which we will, but we're all going to have a lot of fun, all the students together and the mentors, and we'll have some good times. And we've built that spirit and that camaraderie with your team, and we really appreciate that. So thank you for your words today. Moving along, I'm going to introduce our next guest, and that is Seema Sanghavi. And Seema is the CEO and founder of Cooks Who Feed, also a Schulich alumna, an IMBA, an international MBA from the Schulich School of Business in 2010. And she's going to tell the story of her company and the unique and special connection that it has with India as well too, bringing words on behalf of the mentors who are participating this week and the Schulich alumni who are contributing across the board and helping to make this happen. Seema, welcome to the stage.
Hi, Chris. Good morning. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be part of this. And I love the fact that the students are working on, solving challenges around sustainability and social impact. And I love the fact too that I graduated from Schulich in 2010. And at the time, there was not so much emphasis on entrepreneurship. So I love the fact, that Chris has really changed things around. The team at Schulich has really changed things around to make entrepreneurship more of an option and encourage students who want to go down that path that, it is definitely a bright option. I'm, as Chris mentioned, I'm the founder of Cooks Who Feed. I started Cooks Who Feed about 2 years ago now, so still very much a newer entrepreneur. At Cooks Who Feed, we ethically produce kitchen textiles to fight hunger. When we launched 2 years ago, we launched with a line of adult aprons, and for every apron sold, we provide 100 meals to those in need. We do this by sharing our profits with charity partners around the globe that recover surplus food to reduce food waste and provide hunger relief. We have a partner in India, which is Feeding India, and we have a partner in Canada, Second Harvest, and we also have a partner in the US as well. So that's how we provide meals to the hungry. Just last year, we launched a line of child aprons as well. And now we're working on other kitchen linens. We'll be launching tea towels and linen napkins in Q1 of next year. So really, really, really excited about that. The goal is to really be a kitchen textile brand for a conscious cook. And I should also add, we have very much a strong connection with India in the sense that not only do we have a charity partner there that we work with, all of our textiles are made in India as well. So I work with an ethical manufacturer, an NGO based in Delhi, India, that provides fair trade work to marginalized women. So we currently have a team of just over 60 women to whom we provide safe, fair trade work to. And these ladies make all of our products. And in fact, every product comes with a little hand tag that explains the impact, and it's signed by the lady who made your product. So you know who made the product that you purchase. I started Cooks Who Feed because, I'm very much a foodie. For me, there's nothing better than great food with a great conversation. And it really bothered me that so many people don't get to experience food the way that I do. And I noticed that, in the foodie culture, sustainability, social responsibility were big parts of the foodie culture, right? If you look at terms like farm to table, and veganism, and all these things that have themes of sustainability, and no kitchen or brand was really addressing this. And that's when I came up with the idea for Cooks Who Feed. Really, the goal is to be the kitchen textile brand for the conscious cook. We're working on UN SDGs number 2 and 5, which is to fight hunger and gender equality. To date, we've provided over 420,000 meals and close to 8,000 hours of fair trade work. The pandemic has definitely made things very interesting for us as a company. When we first launched, we were creating great partnerships with a lot of companies in the hospitality space, those that required kitchen textiles or required aprons to run their business. So culinary schools, caterers, all these types of businesses. And obviously with COVID, a lot of these businesses had to temporarily close or at least scale down. So it definitely impacted us. Another way that the pandemic impacted us as well is because all our production happens in India with the lockdowns, we also had to pause production for a couple of months in 2020 and a couple of months last year as well. So to try to get through this pandemic as gracefully as possible, we've shifted a bit in regards to who we're focusing. We sell all of our products online as well to end consumers, but we still sell to businesses, but we've shifted a bit. So instead of focusing solely on hospitality, on businesses that require our products to run their own businesses, we've also focused on on organizations, on businesses that do like housewarming gifts. For example, we sell a lot to realtors now, real estate brokerages. We're working with home builders and condo builders, companies that would give housewarming gifts to their clients. We also work with, do a lot of corporate gifting as well. So a lot of companies, especially during the pandemic, wanted to, instead of throwing big grand holiday parties, they wanted to do holiday gifts for their friends and family and staff. So we do a lot of corporate gifting as well. But that being said, we're still very much working with a lot of our hospitality partners. One example I can share with you is we're now working with celebrity cruise lines to outfit all their staff in our aprons. So that's probably one of our biggest clients right now. So even though they're very much in the hospitality space, we still realize that there's still a lot of synergies there. So still focusing on both, but still kind of making sure that we're not putting all of our eggs in one basket. If I could give advice to any new entrepreneur, it would be very much similar to what Vanita had mentioned, in the sense that, keep going. And if you keep going, if you keep showing up, my husband always says 80%, showing up is 80% of the work. So if you keep showing up, opportunities will definitely come your way. I also believe very much that you need to do something that you are passionate about. And anyone that's an entrepreneur will tell you that it's probably the hardest thing they've ever done. Maybe in addition to raising children, it's definitely the hardest thing I've ever done. And if you're going to do that, if you're going to go down that path, I would definitely say do something that you are passionate about, because all those long nights, all the ups and downs, all the emotional outbursts, you will only stick with it if you're doing something that you truly believe in and you're truly passionate about. So instead of looking at, what's the best way to, what's the best way to make quick money or whatever it is, those motivations are, try to make sure that your main motivation is because you really believe in this problem and you're really trying to solve something that's bigger and beyond yourself. And I think that will give you the energy to keep going.
Thanks, Seema, and thanks for representing the Schulich alumni that are here as part of the program and bringing your energy. And we love your deep connection with India and what you're doing with the women who are producing the aprons and working with you, and all the care and thought you've put into finding a sustainable and ethical approach to that. Swani, your thoughts?
Thank you so much, Seema. In fact, it really resonated with me that 80% of the work is done when you just show up. I believe that, yes, absolutely. It's a good learning thought for all the students out there. So thank you so much for your time and sharing your insights from a Schulich alum to all the young entrepreneurs who are going to join the bootcamp. Thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Seema. Next, it's my great pleasure to welcome and introduce Satish Kanwar, the VP of Product Acceleration at Shopify. As many of you may know, Shopify is the largest company in Canada right now, the leader in the innovation sector. Revenue in 2020 of $2.93 billion US dollars, and more than its financial achievements, a company with an incredible culture of innovation and commitment to helping grow the ecosystem. Satish leads all strategic investments, acquisitions, and alliances globally, and prior to that, led strategic product initiatives. More than that, he's just a great guy and someone who I've known for many years. He sold his company, it was called Jet Cooper, was the leading cutting edge, most amazing product design company in Canada. Shopify was brilliant to come knocking on his door one day. He was brilliant to take that offer and become a leader within this incredible company, and someone who's always got a smile on his face and a warm welcome for anyone doing interesting things. So Satish, thanks for joining us today.
Well, thank you so much, Chris, and thank you for the kind introduction. And welcome once again, everyone, to the opening ceremony of Together 2022. I'm very, very appreciative for the opportunity to be here, and such inspiring stories shared so far already, and especially Vanita, someone we featured on the Shopify Masters podcast not too long ago as well, for her incredible journey. So congratulations to Schulich and Startup India and all of the partners and mentors who brought this incredible program together. But most importantly, to all of you, the students, for your ambition and your growth mindset and committing yourself to being here and starting your 2022 off in the best possible way. So as Chris shared, I'm Vice President Product at Shopify. And for those who may not know, Shopify is a global commerce company, and we help anyone become an entrepreneur through democratized tools and technology and infrastructure for digital commerce. And we have millions of merchants globally, including here at home in Canada and in my other home in India, that use Shopify to sell and reach their customers anywhere they might be through online stores, physical retail, and all sorts of other marketplaces and channels wherever their customers are. Personally, I was born and raised here in Toronto as a first-generation Canadian, where my parents immigrated from India in the 70s, like many, to pursue new opportunities. I'm not sure the calculus on that decision would be the same today, as India has grown to become a hotbed of opportunities for everyone globally. And that's what brings us here today as a community to talk about the Indian-Canadian connection. I graduated from the University of Toronto, as Chris mentioned, started a business of my own that helped me later to join Shopify at an early stage about 8 years ago. And that time I've had a chance to see how global commerce has expanded through my work in product, partnerships, and other strategic initiatives. Outside of Shopify, my wife and I run a family office where we invest in underrepresented founders. And specifically, we have a deep passion for investing in South Asian women-led companies in technology and media and direct-to-consumer brands. And so at Shopify, with my hat as a person who leads our global venture capital and mergers and acquisitions, I've really been able to bring my personal interest in the Indian economy and market and founders together with our business goals as we think about new ways and global opportunities for achieving our mission for democratizing the tools and technology that independent commerce need everywhere. And of course, India is a fundamental part to that future growth of Shopify. And I don't need to explain to this room why that's the case. But I will tell you what stands out the most about India, and it's not just growth and talent and digitization, it's the global mindset. It's the mindset that India has and embraces about being able to build for India and for everywhere from India. And I believe that's a deeply and important one that is shared between our two communities. So yes, Shopify is used by a growing amount of domestic and cross-border commerce by Indian merchants and a whole spectrum of Indian developers and partners that are joining us on this path. And Shopify itself also transitioned from being a Canadian headquartered company, yes, where I am personally still based, to a digitally distributed company following the pandemic, which has meant that we've been able to hire and access talent inside of India, inside dozens of other markets that we never did before, as our headquarters today is just the internet everywhere. So we know as a mission-driven company that our work will not be complete until we can support entrepreneurship in India and talent in India successfully at scale to make commerce better for everyone. And that brings us together back to Together 2022, because you're all here to make a really important investment in your personal mission and one another, and to take a bold risk on discovering the potential of your ideas and your creativity. And entrepreneurship, as has been mentioned today before, is a mindset. And like the idea of creativity and other personal qualities, it's a part of who we all are, who you each are. And it's up to you to hone it and develop it and master it. And taking control of this individual risk and reward, that's what entrepreneurship means at its heart. And that's what you're doing by being a participant in this program. And they're rolling out the red carpet, all the best support and systems to help you do this effectively. And I believe that this type of entrepreneurial mindset, that it is innate in all of us and we can build it, is one that India and Canada especially share as markets full of entrepreneurs and small business economies, because we're often the underestimated, the unexpected, and frankly, the underdogs. And by bringing our ideas and communities together in these ways, we can create exponentially more impact in the world and on the future together. And, as Chris shared earlier, there's no small problems left to solve or worth solving. So these ideas of sustainability and self-reliance and social purpose, these are the key themes that are worthy of your attention. And they also are reflective of what the bigger picture ahead is going to be in your entrepreneurial journey as you think about the kinds of problems you want to spend your life's work and mission solving. So, Toronto to me is a very special place. There's a great many talented entrepreneurs here, full of diverse perspectives and unique global mindset. But as are Delhi, Mumbai, and many parts of India, north to south, that I've been lucky to visit in my past many, many times. So I can't wait to see what these entrepreneurs coming together, erasing the distance through Zoom and other tools, can do and build in partnership together. And I wish you all the best with the hard work and fun ahead, leading up to the grand finale. And trust me when I say that you're already all winners and entrepreneurs by being here, by being selected and being a part of this incredible program. So thank you and best of luck in the week ahead.
Thank you so much, Satish. Those words are very inspiring. Definitely, India and Canada do share a lot of relationships, and there are potential for Indian startups back there and also for Canadian startups in India. And we look forward that these students can get inspired and can convert their ideas into sustainable businesses. Thank you so much for your time. Great. In the next section, we have India's most valuable and celebrated entrepreneurs. I'm very grateful to welcome Mr. Sanjeev Bikhchandani, CEO InfoEdge India. Thank you, sir, for joining us today.
Hey, thank you, Swani, for inviting me. Just a clarification, I am no longer CEO. I stepped aside 10 years ago. I am now just the founder and vice chairman.
My sincere apologies, sir.
No, not at all.
Sir does not need any introduction because he's the founder of India's leading unicorn company, InfoEdge India. The company runs an online job portal, Naukri.com, a matrimony website, Jeevansathi.com, a real estate classified platform, 99acres.com, and an educational website, Shiksha.com. In 2020, he has also been awarded Padma Shri, the fourth highest civilian award in the country. I thank you again, sir, for joining us today.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. Just call me Sanjeev. Don't call me sir.
So for the audience, we're going to ask sir about his journey and what all has been his learnings throughout the years and decades of his experience. So, sir, while you started way back when startup was not a very celebrated and a common word, my first question to you is why and when did you decide to start up and not take the conventional career path? And what were your initial struggles like?
Well, I quit my job in 1990. That's 31 years ago. I was 26 or 27 years old then. And prior to that, I'd worked for 5 years in two large multinational corporations in advertising and marketing. I'd done an MBA. I was all set for a decent career in a large corporation. But after 5 years of working in two large corporations, I figured that, look, this is not what I want to do in life. And I was looking for something different, something more, something less, something I could call my own. I wanted to be independent. I wanted to be more creative. I wanted to be in control of my time and priorities. And I wanted to do something which I could identify with, and I could be identified with both. And so I decided to sort of break away and become an entrepreneur. Of course, there was no big idea. It was just a couple of small ideas we were chasing. There was no venture capital then. We had no money. So the first 7 years or 10 years were a big struggle financially. We had to sort of break even on revenue, on customer money to survive, and that was hard, which basically meant that you had to cut your costs a lot, keep costs very low, not take a salary. And we did that for a long, long time. I drifted for 7 years, did maybe 15 or 20 small things in order to survive. And in 1997, the internet had just come into India, and we launched Naukri as the 21st small thing. When we launched, there were only about 14,000 internet accounts in the country. And we just took jobs from newspapers and put them on the net. And when we did that, traffic began to come. It went viral. When that happened, traffic grew and people began to come to us and say, can we pay you to list jobs we don't advertise? And we said, yes, of course. And small revenue began to come. And that's how we grew. So we started the company 2,000 rupees, which in those days was about maybe $50 in 1990. And we started life in a servant quarter above the garage in my father's house. We bought secondhand furniture. We did a whole bunch of things, which, now in hindsight seems romantic, but that time was tough. But yeah, that's how we started. In the year 2000, we were fortunate to be able to raise venture capital in Naukri. We raised about $1.7 million, which then was a princely sum of money, but now it seems like a small sum of money, given the kind of round sizes people get. But with $1.7 million, we sort of, grew the company, scaled the company, and eventually went public in the year 2006. So today we have about 4,500 employees. We've got offices in about 41 cities, companies valued around $8 or $9 billion. We listed in 2006. We've got 4 operating businesses. We have invested in Zomato, Policy Bazaar, and maybe 40 or 50 other startups. So yeah, so we've come a long way in the last 30 years.
Absolutely, sir.
But we started small. We started with 2,000 rupees, $50. It can still be done.
That's inspiring, sir. It's a treat for all the students out there. It's a note to make that for anyone who thinks that you need big money to start or you need a financial background to start. So it's just an example that start small, but your vision should be very clear. Dream big, and you can make it. That's very inspiring, sir. That brings me to your next question. That you've been in the ecosystem for decades, and you've invested in so many startups which are so successful, like Zomato, Policy Bazaar. According to you, when you invest, what are some critical factors or qualities of a successful entrepreneur that you've seen so far?
Yeah. So look, this is wisdom in hindsight. When we were doing it, we didn't know it. We were operating on our instincts. Now, because 1 or 2 or 3 have worked out, we look very smart, but we also got lucky, and we were fortunate to back some really good entrepreneurs and to be allowed by those entrepreneurs to allow us to invest. Right. But I'll tell you, one of the things that I look back on is that successful businesses are built on deep customer insights. Deep customer insights about what? About unsolved problems of the customer. So where did I get the idea of Naukri from? A very simple insight. When I was in my last job, I would observe that all my colleagues would, when they would read a business magazine, would look at the appointment ads first before they read the articles. And these are people who are happy in their jobs, they're working for a good company. They were not going to switch. And that's when I understood that jobs are a high interest category of information. So when we launched Naukri, we simply got all the jobs from all the newspapers around the country and put them all in one place and kept them live for 30 days. And traffic would come. We didn't have to advertise. When I met Deepinder Goyal for the first time, the founder of Zomato, Deepinder Goyal, I was using the site. I loved the site. And there were several other restaurant listing sites, but Zomato, then called Foodie Bay, was the only one that had all the menu cards of all the restaurants. And that's what allowed her. I wanted to see the menu cards, figure out what dishes were at what price, and then decide where to go to eat. So I asked Deepinder, where did you get this idea from? I met him the first time. I asked him, and he said he was working in Bain Consulting, where there was a cafeteria that would not serve food, but you could bring your own food and eat it. And people were young, people were, they would not bring food from home, and consulting hours are long, so you ended up eating 2 meals in the office. And to make life easy, for the employees, the admin team had collated all the delivery menu cards of all the restaurants that would deliver to that location and kept them in file folders in the cafeteria. And Deepinder said, look, every day at 1 o'clock, I go and I find there's a long line to access this file folder. And I get to see it for 2.5 minutes. I have to decide. I call up. The food takes an hour to come. I come back and then I eat. That's a huge problem. He came one weekend and he scanned all these menu cards and uploaded them on his personal page on the office intranet. And he said within 2 days, the IT infra guy came to him and said, hey, what have you done? Why is 95% of the internal traffic going to your page? And that's when the penny dropped. And he said, aggregation of menu cards has got value to the customer insight. And he went on weekends and just picked up menu cards. And when they had 800 of them, he launched the site and traffic came. So the first key is to be customer focused. How customer centric, how customer focused are you? Do you have an insight on an unsolved problem? Are you trying to solve an unsolved problem? The second, obviously, is that, look, entrepreneurs have to be great at building trust across the table, whether with co-founders, employees, investors, customers, all business associates, partners, whoever. You have to create trust across the table. You have to be trustworthy. And people have to have confidence in you. And that's something which it's a growing up thing. You can't learn it in a class in college. So you are either that kind of person or you're not, right? And it's important to be honest, ethical, think of the other person, right? The third is they have to be great with people. Okay, you can't do it alone. You've got to build a great team. And the fourth is you've got to be really persistent. No success is ever built overnight. It takes 10 years, 20 years, right? Okay, so the power's gone off here, but so it'll come back in about 30 seconds. So it's gone dark, but you can hear me, right?
Yes, I can hear you.
So, and finally, look, you got to get lucky, right? We may say we're geniuses, but the truth is that we're not as big geniuses or as we like to believe we are. We work hard, we try and work smart, but we also get lucky. And if you try hard enough and long enough, that is, if you persist, sooner or later you'll get lucky. So I think persistence is the final thing I'd say.
These are words of wisdom, sir. And I feel for the students out there who've not noted, but I have, and I'll repeat it for you, that the 4 qualities or 4 key things that seniors in the ecosystem look at is that if you're trying to solve an unsolved problem, are you able to gain trust of people, your customers, your team? If you are great with people, that is, if you have the confidence, have you built the right team, and also persistence. I hope you guys have taken a note now. Thank you so much, sir. That was very insightful. And so while we're at this, and while we're talking about qualities, what would be your 3 pieces of advice to these young students who just have an idea today and have signed up for the program and look forward to building sustainable businesses? In hindsight, what are 3 pieces of advice that you would have received, which you would have carried forward, or now that you would want to give to these young entrepreneurs so that they can carry forward and keep it to themselves also?
Well, I think the first piece of advice I'd say is that is something we already covered earlier in this conversation. It is dream big, but start small. I think big dreams are important because they keep you motivated, they keep you going. They tell you you're working for a higher cause. But you start small because you want to make your mistakes small when they're not too expensive to make because you're learning. Yes. So one baby step at a time. So dream big, but start small. The second is that the customer's money is more important than the investor's money. No, we all chase money from investors, and we all try to pitch for money, right? But if you're getting the customer's money, it means you probably have a viable business. And if you're getting the customer's money, the investor's money will follow, because investors love to invest behind businesses that are getting customer money. But if you get the investor's money first, it does not mean you have a viable business. The investor's money is very often about impressing 2 young MBAs across the table with a PowerPoint. Right? So focus on getting the customer's money. I'll leave with these 2 thoughts.
These are thoughts that the students should ponder upon, and definitely something that they should keep in mind while they are building businesses. Because yes, very often these young entrepreneurs do go run behind these investors' money. But I hope that with Sir's experience and with Sir's wisdom words, you're able to keep all of these in mind and build businesses and live your dreams, the big dreams that you dreamt about. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. Chris,
thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sanjeev. And we really appreciate you being here with us today. Create trust, be trustworthy, think about the other person. That's not something that everybody talks about every day. The humility to say, we got lucky, and that the first 7 years were a struggle. I hope the students are really listening to this in terms of when you see these iconic businesses that have grown, it takes time, it takes dedication. There are challenges and struggles along the way. And I love the fact, that message that we started with 2,000 rupees, $50, and it can still be done, as you said. So thank you for your words of wisdom. And for
thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I really appreciate it.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, sir. Take care.
Bye.
Moving on, we have another alum from I'm Ahmedabad who shared spaces and has built a remarkable company. We have Abhiraj Singh Bal, co-founder of the Urban Company, with us here today. Thank you so much, Abhiraj, for joining us.
Thank you, Swani, for having me. It's my pleasure.
Mr. Bal is the CEO and co-founder of Urban Company, formerly known as Urban Clap. Urban Company, which was founded back in 2014, is the largest home service platform in India and in the UAE, with recent developments into Australia and Singapore. After earning a degree from the prestigious IIT Kanpur and IIM Ahmedabad, Mr. Bal worked as a consultant for the Bosu Consulting Group before launching his own firm. He has also been awarded the Entrepreneur of the Year Award 2020 by NASCOM Technology and Leadership Forum, and has been in the Fortune 40 Under 40 for 3 years in a row. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Mr. Bal,
thank you so much for having me.
It's our utmost pleasure. These are very young student entrepreneurs who've joined us today who aspire to build companies like you've done in the past. What are your thoughts, and what would be 3 pieces of advice that you would like to give these students before starting, or what is it that tipped you into starting your own company?
So, I started Urban Company after having failed at a startup before, back in 2013, 2014. And for me, starting a company was really about trying to do something of my own, trying to um, the way I thought about it was that any organization that we see around us could be a company, could be an institution, the Schulich School of Business, IIM Ahmedabad, Urban Company. I was hearing Sanjeev, Naukri, all of these organizations that we work for. Somebody somewhere has started them. Right? That's how value gets created in our society. Somebody takes the first step and decides that they have an idea, and more importantly, they have the courage to take that leap and quit their job, or sometimes quit college, invest their time, their money, their energy, and try to give shape to that idea. So for me, it was no different. It was really around trying to build something of my own, which could become very large and very impactful and create positive value for society. And that's how I got started. My first attempt at building a company didn't work out. Thankfully, I called it quits, within time, and then started out on the journey of Urban Company. And over the past 7+ years in Urban Company, also we've done, many micro pivots. Um, in terms of the 3 pieces of advice, that's a good one. So I would say the first is, when you start, think long term, and be long term greedy. The world is around us is short term greedy. So your competitive advantage as an individual can be that you are long term greedy. So think long term. Anyways, you've decided to go down the difficult path of entrepreneurship. So don't be in a hurry. Don't think of a quick exit or a quick buck here or there. It typically takes, at least in India, but elsewhere in the world as well, a good 8 to 10 years to build anything meaningful. So mentally, now that you've jumped, give it that kind of time. That's one. So think long term. The second I would say is, don't get wedded to any idea, or any particular solution. If you want to get wedded to the customer's problem and constantly improvise and improve your solution. And no solution is perfect. If Urban Company today, I would say, is very, very, very far from being perfect, and we have lots and lots. I mean, when I look at our app, and when I look at our service experience, there's like 100 things that I feel we could do better. So it's a continuous journey of improvement, and so you have to be wedded to the consumer problem that you're solving, and be ready to constantly change and pivot and innovate on your solution. That's the second. The third thing I would say is, it is helpful to have a team around you, co-founding team. If you have a co-founding team, then please make sure that you treat them with respect, as well as with, actually, co-founding teams are very similar to marriages, and marriages need 2 important components to succeed. They need love, but they also need mutual respect. So I've often seen founding teams thrive on love and relationship between founders, but where they break is if the mutual respect is missing, and sometimes that's why marriages also break. So very, very important to invest behind that relationship, so that all of you can grow as a founding team. And it's not just limited to the founding team. It is to a broader set of team members that you will have to constantly bring on board as you scale and give wings to your ideas. A final, I would, maybe a small fourth point is that at the end of the day, entrepreneurship is a way of life. We all choose different professions. Some people choose to become pilots. Some people choose to join the army. Some people choose to be accountants. You have chosen, hopefully, the profession of being an entrepreneur. So it's a way of life. And, more than the pot at the end of the rainbow, you have to look at the rainbow itself as the pot. So it's really the journey that you have to enjoy every day. And this is a great way of life. It's very rewarding. It constantly challenges you and pushes you to become a better version of yourself. I often say this, that enterprises fail, but entrepreneurs don't fail. So regardless of how your enterprise does, as an entrepreneur, you will only succeed.
Those are beautiful words, that enterprises fail, but entrepreneurs don't. And the 3 pieces of advices that you gave about love, trust, pivoting, and obviously thinking long term. My next question is a little more specific. When you started way back, and since Urban Company is a service company, how is it? The audience would like to know, how is it that you grew the company in initial stages, right? What were the initial struggles like? How is it that you validated your idea in the very, very initial stages? And the reason why I'm asking this is because the students that are joining us for the bootcamp all have an idea, but don't know how to scale it up. They don't know the very next step right after having an idea. So what would be your insights, or maybe how is it that, what was your journey like? If you could share some insights from those, maybe these students can pick something that you learned along the way.
Yeah, look, I think it's actually not really hard to validate ideas. I think the harder piece as entrepreneurs is to put yourself out there amongst customers and really talk to customers. And as entrepreneurs, particularly those of us who have a technology bent of mind, we love to sit in an office and code and create all of these solutions and products in isolation. I think the hardest thing is actually to go out there and put whatever version of product that you have and test it out with customers and get their feedback. So I remember in the very early days, I think it was a very, very working prototype that we had. And it was an embarrassingly basic prototype. In fact, if the first version of your product is not embarrassing, you've probably over-invested in it. And we would go to every possible market and mall in Delhi and Gurgaon and literally catch hold of people just walking around and give them like a 2-minute pitch and then give them the product to try on their phone. And it was a web app, so it was very easy to open, urbanclap.com. That's all that they had to type into their web browser. That is actually harder than one thinks it is, because you have to go and pitch to strangers. You have to stop a stranger who's otherwise come there and doing something, etc., etc. And your friends and your family members will not give you authentic advice. They will invariably tell you really good things, but a stranger is going to give you like 60 seconds. So either they will get it or they will not get it, right? And trust me, I have rarely seen entrepreneurs who go through this exercise, whether your company is a B2C company or a B2B company. If you just put yourself out there, actually, in a very short duration of time, you will get the broad sense of whether what you're building is it meaningful or not, right? For example, in our case, I remember on the first day when we went out, we were able to solicit and actually get 5 customers just like that to place orders, just by going in the markets and talking to customers. So and we must have basically pitched to maybe 30-40 of them. So that was a reasonable conversion ratio, right? Obviously it's not scalable. We can't go and pitch to everybody physically, but a lot of times I think initially people get too over worried with with things that will this thing scale, and I don't think it's very important. worry about whether what you're trying to do will scale or not. I think it's far more important to know, are you in the right direction? Are you building something that's actually of value? And if not, then go back, rework, pivot, change the solution, sometimes even change the idea. In our case, for example, the first company, after spending time and energy, we shut it down because we just realized it's not getting the validation. And in that company, by the way, one of the biggest mistakes we made was we built our first product in complete isolation. And then when it was of a certain grade, we then launched it in the market, only to realize the consumers, just really did not relate to the problem. And it was too late by the time. So I think it's very important to put yourself out there and go and test your product with prospective customers, and constantly, the less time actually spent in office in those early days, I think it's the better it is.
That's a very interesting way to put it. And I hope that the students that we have, the 200 students that we are catering to this time, do take that piece of advice. And hopefully sometime you would see some of those students in the malls testing their product. So thank you so much for your time, Mr. Bhal. It's a pleasure to have you, especially on the first Monday of the year, where everyone's just buzzing, and we're very, very grateful for your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Have a nice day.
Mr. Bell, thank you so much for your time. Really, I think you've delivered so many important messages, but just the one I'm going to highlight as we move forward is just being open about the fact that the first one didn't work out, the need to pivot, the need to be able to move on. So many established entrepreneurs do have that first company that's behind them that didn't quite work, but they learned the lesson. So really encouraging the students to listen to this today and realize that we're open to your pivots as you go along throughout the week, but also that you may find that the biggest opportunity that you have is not the one you have this week. It's the idea that you're going to see suddenly in front of you in 3 months or 3 years from now. So always keep that mind open for the possibility of the future. Thanks, sir. And we really appreciate your time today. So with that, we're going to move forward and welcome our next guest, Dr. Rhonda Lenten. Dr. Lenten became York University's 8th president and vice chancellor on July 1st, 2017. As I mentioned earlier, York University is Canada's 4th largest university with 55,700 students that she cares for and represents, 325,000 alumni around the world in countries spanning the globe. And Dr. Lenten has been a wonderful champion of entrepreneurship at York University with the Schulich School of Business and within the region and within Canada. In 2015 and 2016, Dr. Lenten was named one of the top 100 most powerful women in Canada by the Women's Executive Network. And I know she'll be pleased not only to see all the amazing women entrepreneurs we have here today, but the incredible students that are just raring and ready to go and get started. Dr. Lenten, Rhonda, welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Chris. Hello, bonjour, bonjour, namaste, and Happy New Year to everyone. I would like to extend a warm welcome to everyone that's joining together today for the Together 2022 conference. I also want to thank and acknowledge everyone today who made this event possible, including our valued partners in India. Events such as this competition provide incredible opportunities, not only for nurturing the innovation and the entrepreneurship aimed at important societal problems, but in addition for reflecting on the role of globalization in your future plans. We increasingly see evidence of a rising nationalism that defends free markets while reasserting sovereignty, looming trade wars, populism, political tensions, fueled by inequality and ecological crises, reflecting the changing liberal ideology that's governing globalization. And yet, climate change and pandemics, cyber terrorism, rules about artificial intelligence, and so on, remind us that our lives are increasingly impacted by events that can only be managed through global coordination. Individual countries are not going to be able to source everything locally, nor will companies be motivated to pay the higher prices of doing so. Varying demographics across countries, with some growing but some stagnant in terms of population, will continue to put a premium on migration and labor mobility. So events that allow us to connect with one another and to collaborate on global problems are essential. York University has a special relationship with India. We have many long-standing relationships with partners who have supported our efforts to develop sustainable solutions to complex global challenges through collaboration on research projects, academic exchange programs, and transnational initiatives such as today's event. Our second largest population of international students at York are from India. India is the home of one of our two international campuses, our Schulich School of Business campus in Hyderabad. So we are absolutely delighted and optimistic about this year's Together 2022 conference that has the potential of bringing together agents of change, student entrepreneurs, senior industry experts, and world-class trainers to work across borders, cultures, and sectors to help find innovative solutions to some of the world's most pressing issues, including those related to energy and the environment, income security and fintech, food and agriculture, and education. York has much to contribute to these partnerships and to supporting the international innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem. Our Schulich School of Business has been spotlighted on the global stage as one of the few business schools that offers sustainability-themed MBAs, combining business insights with an awareness of critical social, ethical, and environmental concerns. By integrating the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals into its curriculum, Schulich is empowering the next generation of responsible, diverse, and engaged entrepreneurs. In fact, our Schulich students and alumni, a couple who you've met already, have gone on to secure first place in consulting competitions like the Yale Case competition, which focuses on solving real-world solutions to social issues, outranking competitors from Harvard, Yale, and Berkeley. We've initiated over 200 startups annually, including highly successful companies with a social innovation focus. For example, Altex, which is currently developing a polyester replacement fiber for clothing that can be re-engineered from food waste. And we're developing grassroots initiatives, such as the student-run Entrepreneurship Development Association, which serves to cultivate a supportive network of students, academic scholars, and entrepreneurs that carry significant potential for affecting positive change. In the past year alone, Schulich has launched a number of initiatives focused on supporting research and innovation that furthers social good, including establishing an office of innovation and entrepreneurship, launching 2 new centers of excellence, one that's focused on health management and another on sustainable development chains, forming the GMR Innovex Innovation Hub in partnership with India's GMR Group, and of course, partnering with Startup India to launch this competition for the first time. I want to thank Startup India and all of our organizers, the participants, mentors, and sponsors for their support and the enthusiasm that has been such a pleasure to listen to this morning or this evening, depending on where you are. And I would also like to thank all of the participants for joining us today. A special thank you to Chris and Swanee as the co-hosts. With more than 400 participants in attendance, I am confident that the ideas, the ambition, the vision that will be brought to bear throughout this competition will drive positive change in Canada, in India, and around the world. I wish the best of luck to all of the competitors. Merci, miigwech, namaste.
Bonjour, Professor. Thank you so much for your kind words. It's a pleasure to work with your team always. Chris and his entire team have been completely supportive the entire duration. It's been a treat to work with them, and we really look forward to the bootcamp, and we hope that the Canadian students also enjoy their time working with the Indian students and can together collaboratively bring their ideas to life. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for your time on the very first day of the year on the Monday morning. We're very grateful for your
Thank
presence.
you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, President Lenten.
Merci beaucoup.
Now I am excited to introduce our next guest, and a dear friend of mine, an innovator and a force for good in the social entrepreneurship space, Sultan. My friend Sultan is the CEO at the Future of Education Conference, an incredible event that comes together once a year to talk about ideas that are transforming education around the globe. This is a person who has built friendships and alliances and deep love with so many educators and entrepreneurs around the planet. And he is also the CEO of Library in a Week. I'm just going to welcome him to the stage because he's going to bring us students from India, students from Canada, to a place with energy and heart. We're going to get now into the soul of what we're doing, which is to bring transformation to the world. Sultan, thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you, my brother. I really appreciate it. And I'm so grateful for all the speakers that have built the forum to where it is right now. And to each and every one of you, the dreamers, the ones that want to break down traditional paths and innovate to make a difference. I'm going to speak from my heart. I don't follow scripted things. Life is too precious to say all the right things and mean none of it. And I am going to dive in just like my fellow speakers and speak from my heart, my dear friends. Let me take you to Colombia. I was building my 8th library. I've been blessed to build 38 libraries in 10 countries. And I was building my 8th library, and it was in a jail for kids. So I was warned, don't go in there. You're going to get stabbed. It was in Medellin, one of the most dangerous places in the world. You're going to, you shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be doing that. And I built with my own hands, and I built with love and respect. And, I was like, okay, I get it. I'll take precautions, but I'm going to believe in the power of the human soul to do the incredible things that the world needs. And my dear friends, that ended up being one of our best builds. When the kids saw respect in my eyes, the same respect you are going to see, and not empathy, not sympathy, not preachiness, they opened their hearts, they cried, and their nurses were like, these kids are not used to showing emotions. Gets you killed on the street. What did you do? I said, well, you know what? I just led with my heart, and I gave them the respect that they always deserved. And as I was leaving that jail, there was a lot going through my mind. They couldn't cross a line, and they'd become like family. We built the whole project in 1 week, everybody working together. And I was leaving that line, and I am visually there right now as I speak this to you. And a very old saying in Hindi and Urdu came to my mind, and I'll speak it in that language, and I'll translate it for the rest of you. And it went something like this, that meri diwangi pe ye hosh wale behas farmaye. From a distance, my actions seem like a drunk person dancing in the rain, leaving the safety of an executive career at Microsoft, putting my own safety at risk, doing all of those things. That doesn't seem normal. It doesn't seem logical. And then the second part of that is, magar pehle inhe deewana banne ki zarurat hai. And what that means is once you fall in love with your purpose, once you connect with your reason for existence on this planet, then you too will dance in the rain with me, my friends, and it will only seem like the only logical way to live on this planet. And that is my first message to you. I only have 3 messages from my heart. The power of purpose. It is a framework that I've been working on. We come to a point in life where we get very used to saying all the right things, to learn how to pitch. My question to you is this: do you deeply care about your business? Do you deeply care about the problem you're trying to solve? If the answer to that is no, then keep searching, my friends. As most of the speakers talked about, entrepreneurship is hard. Social entrepreneurship, impactful entrepreneurship is 10 times harder. But if you ground it in deep, meaningful, real purpose, the pitch will come. Just like my message from my heart, my purpose today is to inspire one of you. Everybody else is a bonus. To do the right thing, to keep pushing forward on your business. And when you are grounded in purpose, you are going to find the way to build the revenue models. You will find the way to pitch in a way that resonates with every single person that your words touch, because they're not just coming from your mind, they're coming from your heart. and you have built your business models to be successful because that's the only way you can impact the world. Business is one of the most honest ways in which we can make a difference. The world doesn't need more tin cups and donations. The world needs incredible entrepreneurs like you, my dear friends, to take on the business world and do it for the right reasons. I could have started this speech sharing that I delivered over $1.2 billion for Microsoft and other management consulting projects. I could have started this by sharing that we've built some of the biggest events in the country. I could have started this by sharing that my 10 and 8-year-old daughters went on Shark Tank, inspired by amazing female entrepreneurs, and their company was valued at $200,000, producing this kind of art for around the world. But this speech is not about me. This keynote is not about me. It is about you and this incredible journey ahead in the next 7 days. That is, at the end of the day, my only message to you. Ground yourself in deep purpose. Use this opportunity, my friends, not to win in this competition, but to win in life. Use this to ask yourself, do you believe in the pitch you are making? And if not, then what do you believe in? And pitch that. And it will set change in motion in your life that will touch every aspect of your life. My second message is power of purpose is great. You ground yourself and you have this big dream. The next thing that comes flooding is doubt, the insecurity. I'm guilty as charged. Everything I'm sharing with you, I want to change the educational system. I have big dreams. And the moment we voice our dreams, my friend, the quicksand of doubt gets us. It's like, who am I? What can I do? Well, you can do anything you set your mind to. And I wrote a poem in a moment of clarity that I want to share with you, parts of it. It goes like this. I am enough, or so I'm told. But at every turn of my life, a feeling of doubt takes hold. I am enough, but for what, I wonder. Because when I make a blunder, and I've made many, the doubt comes with a thunder. You are not enough, Sultan, and you never will be. So you must surrender. This doubt, my friends, is a companion of our kind. Because we dream of a better future and we don't wait in line. Because we challenge the way things are. Because we want a better life for all those near and far. We are enough, my dear friends, not because we are told. We are enough is a feeling in our soul from a deep place of belonging, from enjoying our existence with those in our surroundings. We are enough because in spite of the darkness, we shine a light that illuminates first within. This journey changed my life in ways I can never, ever be grateful for. I lost 100 pounds. I did one of the toughest races, the Ironman, 3 weeks ago. Changes your life. It illuminates first within, then everyone in sight. So let's get all together and let's make this right. This feeling of doubt that creeps inside. Let's make it right by doing things that matter, not just saying things, by doing things that matter. And let's believe in our impact, regardless of the chatter. We are enough is a feeling inside. It cannot come from any external validation, any car, anything on the outside. And with all of you wonderful change makers on my side, we are enough and we are making a difference is the only feeling that I have left inside. And I want to share my third message in the spirit of this energy we have built together, this sincerity. I don't narrate this story often, but when I do, I go back to this place. So when I'm building my libraries and I build them with my own hands, you can see the videos and all of that. And something magical happens, kind of like what's happening right now. And at the opening, I share the story of the boy in the library. And the kids are like, okay, I just want to eat. I want to have my food. Like, I know everybody's been here. And I start the story by telling them about the story of a boy from a good family whose family fell on some hard times. He had to drop out of school. He just did his studies, studying from books, went to a good university, but life was really, really tough. Tough in terms of surviving on $20 a month. No matter where you are in the world, my dear friends, that's not enough to eat. So just to make a few extra dollars, he would cycle an hour and a half each way just to teach some kids, make a few extra dollars. And in the middle of all that was a little bookshop. It wasn't a bookshop, it was a spaceship. Because in that spaceship, he could disappear, he could dream, He could imagine. He could see all the wonderful food that reminded him of his hunger. He could see all of these weird, different looking people from all over the world, because everywhere he looked, we saw people similar to him. And it just sparked his imagination. He wanted to travel the world. It just got him to see all those visual places. And I tell these kids, by this time, they're like, okay, here comes another fairy tale. Why are you telling us this? We want to open the library. I tell these kids, every single dream of that boy came true. He went to 80 countries in the world. He achieved lots of things that he set out to do, only to realize that real happiness comes from following your purpose. And when life is telling them that they are not enough, I look in your eyes as I say this. When you're having those doubts, when you're having people question, and when you're questioning yourself, I want you to go to a place like the one I'm in right now. That could be your room, that could be your library, that could be your sanctuary. And I want you to remember this story, because the boy who could not afford any books is now the man speaking to you on a mission to build 100 libraries around the world. That is why I build my libraries, my friend. Why do you do your business? I want to leave you with this beautiful thought that comes, as you can see, it's always an emotional expression for me, because life is too short, man. Life is too short to say all the right things. I only speak once a month in forums such as this wonderful. Big shout out to Startup India, to Schulich, to the incredible team here. Because you know what? Our collective goal here is to remind you how powerful you are. I'm going to end my speech with something that I wrote very recently. And I wrote it right here, and I'm going to share it with you. The one message on a humorous note I will share is, my talks have gone to millions of people, and sometimes I would put it out from my back pocket, a piece of paper, and then people just go like, oh my God, you're going to read it? I'm like, yeah, when you're an entrepreneur, you can do what you like. That is the beauty. That is the joy. You get to control this. I went to Harvard. There was this wonderful picture on the wall where this person was dressed up differently, and the other people more traditionally dressed up were like, oh, we have to complain about him to the CEO. He's like, well, you can't, because he is the CEO. You're on a journey of freedom and empowerment, my friends. So do what you love and do it for the right reasons. Here's my heartfelt gift to you to end my talk. It is called The Power of Dreams. So early part of 2022, early parts of your business, you have a dream, you must protect it. With all my heart, here's a gift for you. It starts deep within, like a flicker of light, like a moment of brilliance in the darkness of the night. A moment, a spark, a second that takes your breath apart. A vision, a glimpse. Is it an illusion or a real thing? The doubt comes flooding to drown that small light. You can never do that. You will fail throughout. You are too big, too fat, too skinny, too old, too poor, too this and too that. The flicker of light is lost in the negative cloud. I was 300 pounds, my friends. I lost 100 pounds to do the Ironman. Anything is possible. But the moment we visualize a dream, the doubt comes in. You want to build multi-million-dollar businesses. The doubt comes in. And this is about that. But again, it sparks like a whisper in the dark, like a drop of water for a thirsty soul, like a lighthouse in the dark, like the wind that makes the bird sing, like food for a hungry being. It floods us with light, even if it is a fleeting sight. What is this thing? Is it an illusion of some sort? Oh no, my dear friend, it is your dream, and it is the start. Protect it with all your might. Give space to make it bright. Like food for your soul, like that whisper in the dark. It points you to your direction. It brightens up the dark. It has the power to heal, to achieve anything at all. Take it from a once obese guy that completed Ironman this fall. Your dream is precious. It can cure all. Believe in its presence. Give it your all. It will restore purpose in your life. It will bring joy for you and for all. Your dream, this is the most important part. Your dream is not just your accomplishments, the trophies in sight, the medals on the wall. It is your reason for existence. So when today that sparks comes, hold on to that light. Give it space. Enjoy its visual sight. And then watch the power of dreams transform every single aspect of your life. My dear friends, visualize your dream. Visualize yourself in that role as the entrepreneur. Visualize yourself. Close your eyes and see that image. And when you visualize it and ground yourself in purpose, you are going to make it happen. God bless you. All the very best. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. If there's anything I can do to help you in your journey, it would be my honor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sultan. It was so beautiful and was so inspiring that we're all spellbound to even go back and share our thoughts. The poems were beautiful. In fact, just to let you know, you're the second athlete with us tonight. We had, and I saw that you were around the whole time. Vinita from Sugar Cosmetics also ran the Ironman. So we're so glad to have you. And it was absolutely beautiful and inspiring. And I hope, and I really hope that these students have taken your thoughts, your journey, and have taken your insights from the beautiful poem that you wrote, the one that you wrote now and the one that you shared with us. And I hope that the students are inspired. They definitely are, because it is this once in the entire webinar, there's very few times that these students have shown their love over text and have shown their love through emojis and messages. Thank you so much for your time, Sultan. We're very grateful to have you.
Thank you so much. Take care.
And we're very grateful for you to spare time in a very busy Monday morning. Thank you so much.
I'm honored.
Sultan, thank you. I am so filled with just, I don't know, tingling from all over, from head to toe, hearing your words. Every time I hear you speak, it's a treat and a treasure and a joy. You had one line here where you said, the wind that makes the birds sing. And I feel like we are now a flock of 600 birds that you have let loose with the wind that you have shared with us this morning from your words and your poetry. Everyone is filled with this inspiration. And I want everyone, all the students that are listening and have heard these words, to just do what Sultan said. Ground yourself in that purpose that will carry you not only through the week, but will carry you forward through life. Thank you, Sultan. I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you, Chris. Take care.
That brings us to the end of the opening ceremonies. Thank you to everyone who was here with us today. Students, hold on, because we'll be transitioning from here. Stay in the group, and we'll be posting the links for us to continue on for our next session. We're going to take a really short break, everyone, just to have a quick breather, maximum 4 or 5 minutes, and then we'll be back with Ben Stacy, introduce him, who will be starting us off with our training. Really excited for you to meet him and to learn from everything he has to teach you about pitching and presentations and how to approach the week right out of the gate. A final thank you to our mentors and all of our speakers, to our partners, and to our friends at Invest India, Startup India, the Consul General from Toronto, from the Government of India, and the City of Toronto. Everyone has helped us to get to this point. Swani, we made it through the opening ceremonies. Are you feeling good?
Thank you so much, Chris. Yes, definitely. In fact, very thankful for you. And I hope that the students did like the line of panel that we put up for them. Thank you so much for joining us here today. To the audience that we are live streaming to, we hope that even though you could not join the boot camp, you could take out some insights, and there were some moments of wisdom that you could gain from the panel that Chris and we put forward. Thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you. So we say, everybody, we'll just take a quick break, but Vito and Shuvo and the team will be posting the links for people to head over into the first training session.
We're actually going to stay here for the first training session.
Oh, first,
we got
my
Ben
apologies.
Yes.
Okay, we're even better. So you don't even have to head out from here. So everyone will just take a short break. Yes, Vito?
Sure. Yeah. Just take a 2 to 5 minute, maybe quick, and then we'll get Ben started off right away.
Okay. See everyone in just a few moments.